Welcome everyone to the EMS Leadership Summit. Today we are here with Danny Naiman of the International Association of Flight and Critical Care Paramedics. Danny, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Well, really happy to have you as you're the business director for the IAFCCP. We would love for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and explain to folks watching. We've got leaders from around the country and likely from around the world joining us, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I've been in EMS or transport medicine for about 16 years. Worked as a paramedic and advanced practice paramedic for Wake County EMS.
Oh, great.
And then transferred over to the hospital system here and was the quality assurance performance improvement officer there and the education program manager. And joined the board for the IAFCCP about 3 years ago, and have been doing everything I can to help the association since.
Great. Yeah, Wake County is definitely a progressive system, so it's really great to see that you've joined the association here and you've been on board promoting the organization. So tell our people watching what I guess if you want to start with your presentation or about the IAFCCP and the benefits.
Yeah, so we're a membership organization. We are the largest independent paramedic association in the world. Our focus is on the professional paramedics and critical care, flight, and community care paramedics. Our membership runs the gamut. We have a significant amount of military members, support them heavily, and a pretty significant amount of international members. We have a chapter in Germany and a chapter in South America, and we're discussing the potential for opening another chapter internationally as well. So our mission is to provide advocacy, leadership, professional development, and education for specialty care paramedics throughout the world. Sure, you've seen us in the media decent amount recently with the education position paper that we published with the EMS Educators Association and NASEMSO.
Absolutely, it's created quite the buzz out there, and it's good to see again people coming together to talk about that important issue of degree requirements, or at least advancing education for EMS, and especially in the pre-hospital, the transport industry.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. It's doing exactly what we wanted to do, and that's start the conversation. Right. So it's really hard to make any progress if nobody's willing to talk about it. And we've stirred enough that there's a lot of conversation on both sides of it, and can't fault anybody that disagrees with your side. They still have a point. But the good thing that comes of it is that, we're all talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our vision with the association is to develop and promote standards of specialty care paramedicine through education, research, safety, and provider advocacy. We've just in the recent past just issued 2 letters of support for different states. I'm working on 2 more letters of support for other states for either education standards or legislation that is going through the works that has a direct impact on paramedics in the field. So we stay actively involved with legislation and rules that are going through any states that are trying to enact critical care levels or further delineate the paramedic profession, anything that really affects paramedics. We try to stay involved with as much as possible.
That's great. We had somebody, one of our speakers, Aidan O'Connor Jr., actually, he's the business director for LifeNet up in the Capital Region, New York area. he was also an elected official, and a lot of his talk was around advocacy, the importance of joining different associations. Obviously, the IAFCCP is one of those associations, and how you don't necessarily have to join every association, but these associations tend to support other associations through position statements, the position paper you mentioned. So Aidan has a great talk about, he calls it the ABCs of advocacy: advocate before complaining.
Yes. It's, we don't think of it very much as on the line of, I'm speaking with my membership, but that's exactly what you're doing is, when you become a member of an organization, you're saying that you support that organization and what they're going through. And then your membership is leveraged by that organization to make the improvements and the changes that you want to see, and improve the profession all the way around. It matters what organizations that you become a member of, and how you support them. We have a lot of active members. We have a lot of state delegates. We have a few openings in various states around the United States right now, for state delegate positions, and we're just getting that program really ramped up to be able to do more at the local level and make sure that we're not missing anything that's coming out of these areas.
So can you tell us a little bit more about what's the position as a state delegate? Each state, do they typically have one or two delegates, and are they coordinating some grassroots efforts, or are they keeping up with communication with the state members within the state?
So the intention is that they'll be keeping up with the communication with members within that state, as well as running some grassroots effort in that area. We're really kind of reviving the program. It's been around for a long time, but it's kind of fallen off of the radar. And our new state delegate coordinator, Corey Oakes, is really taking the reins and running with the program to make a lot of improvements and get everybody more involved. Ultimately, we want to see our state delegates kind of, determining which way we need to go and what focus we need to have. Obviously, we'd like to utilize them as much as possible if there's a conference in the area, if they're going to be at a conference. We are a 100% volunteer organization, and if the board travels anywhere, it's all on our own dime. The association doesn't sponsor anything for us. So if we can have local representatives, and that increases our reach.
Wow, that's great.
So for education, we provide a lot of education for our members. We're working on a couple of programs now to improve and expand the amount of education that we provide to our members. There'll be more on that coming later this year. But currently, besides the programs that we're working on getting started, we are a founding organization and sponsor of AMTC, and we're a founding organization and sponsor of CCTMC. With AMTC, we went in with the Pilots Association, the Nurse Association, the Physicians Association, and AIMS, and started that conference. And with CCTMC, we have the Physicians Association and the Nurses Association that we work with to sponsor that conference. And they're both about 6 months apart from each other. So we have two major conferences every year that we're a big part of. And then we sponsor a critical care track at EMS World Expo. And we're working on getting into more conferences. We are at a lot of conferences, but we're working on getting a bigger foothold in other conferences and really increasing the amount of critical care education that's available to providers out there.
Great.
One of the ways that we try to help our members get that education at those conferences is we offer pretty significant discounts for each conference, about $100 for every conference that we're a primary sponsor of, that that we offer $100 off admission for our members. And then we also provide a 20-hour, 2-day critical care and flight paramedic review course for anybody that's studying for the FPC or CCPC, or anybody that is renewing. You have to have a review course within that time period so you can renew.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Pittman course and how where it's usually done, how much it usually costs, what the involvement is? You said it's a 20-hour, 2-day course.
Sure. Yeah, so it is a 20-hour, 2-day course that is delivered either on site wherever anybody wants to sponsor it, or we deliver it at CCTMC, AMTC, EMS World, all the major conferences. We host it there as well, just to try to make it more convenient for people to be able to get into.
Right.
So the member rate for the Pittman course is $250, and then the non-member rate is $350.
That's a great price for, especially when you're considering a 20-hour course that's required for the FPC or the CCPC renewal. That's great.
It is. It's and it's a pretty in-depth course. I feel like I've worked on the course and helped make a lot of the edits and updates to it since we've acquired it. Corey Pittman was a flight and critical care paramedic in Western North Carolina, and tragically died of heart complications one weekend a few years ago. And so we partnered or discussed things with his wife, and were able to acquire his program to be able to continue on his legacy, really. I think everybody on the board had met Corey at some point, if not knew him fairly well. We had hosted him a couple of times when I was at the hospital doing education there. And he really had a strong course and a great way to deliver information. So we really wanted to take that and build on it and continue his legacy down the road. And I feel like we've been very successful with that.
Yeah. I've heard about a little bit about his story, and it's great that your organization's honoring his memory and continuing and to pass on that education. And there's nothing more exciting, I think, than being around other folks that are in the critical care environment, sharing those experiences, and being in a course where you're learning new concepts and reinforcing old concepts and whatnot. So it's great.
Yep. And so, yeah, that's exactly what we try to do is, we get pretty in depth on a few things. That it is a critical care and flight paramedic course. So we get fairly in depth, but we always try to make sure that everybody is caught up. It's not for the new paramedic. Anybody is welcome to attend it, but make sure that, everybody's on the same page as we're moving forward with the new concepts and the latest clinical information.
That's great.
We talked a little bit about the paramedic education requirements position paper that we put out with NEMSMA and the Educators Association. Really got a lot of things talking. I think at least one article has been in EMS Today and EMS World every month since, regarding paramedic education and where we're going and what we need to do for the future.
Certainly lighting up the Twitter sphere as well. Talking about this, which is great. Some of our other presenters and speakers at this conference at the EMS Leadership Summit had Dr. Peter O'Mara from Australia talking about the Australian EMS systems in the different states, how they have PhD paramedic programs specializing in paramedicine, or Dr. Paresh Wakande from the UK talking about how they have, I think, 45 PhD candidates as paramedics, and how advanced it's getting to the point where they're advanced practice paramedics are actually writing or doing authorizations for prescriptions. So definitely the level of care does follow the ultimate education, and not to mention just the background and management in your leadership within an organization, and how you develop yourself. So
it absolutely does. We're excited to see what's happening in the paramedic profession around the world, and how that the increased education requirements are allowing paramedics to really do what paramedics feel like they should be doing, right? And that's take care of the patient where they're at, and to be able to deliver that care, whether it's in the home or during transport, is our ultimate goal. And we're really excited to see what's happening around the world, and really hope that the United States is able to increase our provision of paramedic, of pre-hospital and out-of-hospital care provided by paramedics.
Absolutely. And I think ultimately too, it leads to this idea of an international reciprocity, where we're bringing people up to the same kind of a similar level, or they've said in the past, a rising tide raises all ships, essentially. So getting people on par with folks in the UK and Australia and even in Canada would be a huge step for folks.
Yes, absolutely. We've actually, 2 of our board members are on the International Paramedic Registry, the board for them, and so we're working towards that, and trying to increase everything that we can.
That's great.
So some of the things that we have coming up soon. We have a safety tour that we've partnered with the Nurses Association and with the Medevac Foundation. So we're going to be doing a national tour around the United States, focused on really provider safety and well-being, address post-traumatic stress, how to deal with it, the support that you have out there, what we can do better to support each other and to improve our own odds of surviving the issues that we face every day. So focused on critical care, providers, flight providers, EMS providers are absolutely welcome and encouraged to come. It's open to any clinical provider out there. But we're really excited about this. Our Vice President, Phil Ward, is going to be traveling around with these stops and speaking, and there's really a good lineup of information that we're going to be able to deliver out to people without them having to travel too far.
That's great. Let's if we can we'll put a link below the video and for the schedule for folks to see where the nearest city is, or where the next stop is on the tour.
All right, absolutely. We will be starting soon, and I want to say in June. I'll have to look at it again, actually, and have several stops already scheduled. But more stops are being planned right now, so we can absolutely do that.
It's great to hear.
So one of the other things that we talked about just a couple minutes ago too is advocacy, and how we advocate for paramedics in the United States and around the world is, like we said, we try to be involved in any decisions that are being made at the state or local level that affect paramedics in the field, and how we function and how we provide care to patients. Make sure that any of those items are to the benefit of the patient. That's our primary focus. We're here to support the paramedics, and the paramedics are there to support the patient. So as long as the patient is benefiting, then we all benefit. So we do everything that we can to stay involved and keep abreast of what's going on. I know I get news alerts sent to me every morning about anything critical care, flight, community care, paramedic education related, that I review, and then we discuss, if we need to, during our board meetings every month. And then, like you said, you talk with your membership. And so if you support us, then we would appreciate it if you became a member. And we encourage everybody to become a member of whatever organization that they do support, even if it's not us. Make sure that you're supporting what you believe in. And if we can do anything to help you or help any other organizations, that we'll be more than happy to. Feel like, leadership is not focused on the me, it's focused on the we. And so, anything that we can do to improve the profession anywhere, we'll support it.
And if you want, Danny, if you want to just talk briefly about, I know some of the benefits myself as a member has been, again, you get access to the Air Medical Journal, which is a great publication to stay up to date with the latest research and to see. I mean, I remember one article was about a flight that was from, I think, across like 2 continents, talking about like critical care transport flight, like a flight debriefing, not to mention the various peer-reviewed journal studies from the Air Medical Journal, discounts to taking your IBSC certification as well. If you could share with us some of the other benefits, if I was right.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, you get an annual subscription to the Air Medical Journal sent to your door every month. And it has a lot of valuable information in it. Like I said, it's a peer-reviewed journal that's focused on flight and critical care medicine. So even if you're a ground provider, it still has information in there, right? Clinical care is clinical care, whether you're on the ground or in the air or in the hospital. So peer-reviewed clinical articles should be impacting your care no matter where you're at. And we like to think that Air Medical Journal has a lot of good information in it and provides a lot of guidance for providers around the world. We send out a monthly email blast to all of our members as well, that contains information about the association and any other interesting or related articles that have been published by anyone else that may impact your care or may just be of interest. The Pittman course, obviously we talked about it earlier. There's a $100 discount for taking that course. It's $250 for members to take the course wherever it's at. We provide a $100 discount for members when they're registering for CCTMC or AMTC, and as well as a $100 discount for taking your IBSC certifications, so FPC, CCPC, or the community paramedic certification as well. The other thing that we've done is we've partnered with college to provide a seated and online community paramedic program review course. So that's available to our members at a discounted rate as well. We were able to get them to freeze tuition rates before they raised them the last 2 times for any of our members when they sign up for that course. And we wrote that course for the college. One of our board members that are that functions as community care paramedic assisted with writing that course. And then, like any other membership organization, we have a lot of discounts for outside providers as well for, insurance or buying groups or anything like that. But we do everything we can to make sure that you get your money's worth. And with the membership being less than $100, and you get, $300 in discounts, $400 in discounts if you take the FPC exam and the review course and go to 2 conferences. We feel like the membership definitely pays for itself.
It absolutely pays for itself, especially at such a great rate, and for the greater good of it does for the entire organization, for our industry, for the people involved. Yeah, it's definitely a great deal. Again, details on your website. The website is full of information People can sign up right online and renew their membership. And Danny, do you have any parting words for folks that that are watching?
Well, we appreciate you inviting us to be part of this. We absolutely, part of our core reason for existence is to encourage and provide leadership for paramedics around the world. And we really, really appreciate what you're doing with the Leadership Academy and with the Leadership Summit. And we're excited to see where this goes and help support you anywhere that we can.
Well, we appreciate it. Like I said, we're super excited. We have over 30 speakers from right now 5 different countries talking about this global conversation on what's working in leadership and not just kind of some older rhetoric around the way things should be, but how people want it to be. So it's pretty exciting. We've got well over 1,000 people enrolled in the free conference. So we're excited about getting this information out there. And again, helping promote the IAFCCP and getting more people involved, more people active in the organization. So, Danny, I want to thank you again for your time. Folks, there's resources below and in the exhibitor booth. Check out those resources, join the organization, and we'll see you around the summit.